Welcome back to the Time of Your Life. I'm your host, Ethel Rasmussen. Education about elder abuse supports a critical preventative measure to empower all citizens. With us today is Lynn McCamey, Ombudsman Manager at the Baltimore County Department of Aging, who will share what the public needs to know about elder abuse, along with special educational events such as World Elder Abuse Awareness Day. Lynn, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. It's my pleasure to be here today.
Lynn, World Elder Abuse Awareness Day, known as WEAD, was launched on June 15, 2006 by the International Network for the Prevention of Elder Abuse and the World Health Organization at the United Nations. What is the purpose of WEAD?
WeAdd is an educational platform where we have the opportunity to build alliances. And in Baltimore County, we've done that between the Department of Aging, Department of Social Services, Legal Services, law enforcement, private citizens to help do prevention and education of elder abuse. We make sure that everybody in the Baltimore County area, whether you are an older adult, a professional, or just someone who's concerned and you want to make sure that elder abuse and its many strains is not affecting someone in your community program or service. And if it is, what are some things that can be done to prevent? And who are some agencies that actually would have investigation options to ensure safety for a vulnerable adult or an older adult? This ranges from anyone in the community all the way up to anyone who may be in those long term care settings.
Please share information about elder abuse, including its signs, prevalence, and options for reporting.
I'm so glad that you asked that. Elder abuse does have a very detailed definition, and I wanted to read that to you just to give our viewers a chance to know what the state of Maryland sees as elder abuse. It is the mental or physical mistreatment of a person, frequently resulting in serious emotional, mental, physical, and/or sexual injuries. An act or failure to act that results in possibly the mistreatment or immediate serious harm to someone. The state of Maryland wants all to know that there are five major strains of elder abuse. You have physical abuse, psychological or emotional abuse, neglect, self neglect. Sometimes people lump those together, but they can be very different, but still under one guise of neglect. Sexual abuse and financial abuse or financial exploitation. If you are in the community, some individuals may say financial abuse, but if you're in a long term care, I'm sorry, financial exploitation, but if you're in a long term care setting, you might hear the words financial abuse, but the root is financial at that point. Some signs and symptoms for physical abuse, you may see bruises, whelps, burns. There may be a level of disorientation by the individual due to over medication, and it could be a history of multiple hospitalizations due to injuries. Some signs and symptoms for psychological or emotional abuse could be sudden changes in sleeping, or eating habits, fearfulness, isolation, agitation, and maybe a sudden change in feeling of self worth. Some signs for neglect are untreated bed sores or injuries or medical problems, hunger, malnutrition and dehydration, absence of heat or air or prescribed medications, and poor hygiene or lack of clean bedding or clothing. Some signs and symptoms for self neglect. Usually, this is going to be happening if a person lives alone with little or no support networks. Some of those signs may be depression, feeling as though there's no way to continue moving forward, decreased mental and physical activity, and you may see a lot of wandering or confusion about how to get from point A to point B. Some signs and symptoms for sexual abuse include painful urination or being able to relieve your bowels, difficult in walking and sitting, torn, strained, or bloody clothing or undergarments, and maybe infections in their genital or anal areas, irritations or discharge may happen as well. And the last one is financial abuse or financial exploitation, which we probably see or hear more about through the news or various programs might be talking about how to protect against financial abuse. But some of those signs may be non payment of bills, eviction, or utility turnoff notices, changes to legal documents that they don't really understand what they're doing, but they're being told to make those changes. Missing assets or funds that they can't account for. Suspicious signatures on either formal documents or checks. Unusual banking activity, maybe starting to use more of the ATMs when they actually were always doing banking directly inside the building. And the last one could be the abuser's standard of living either rises or drops suddenly without explanation of what that might be happening. These are just some of the signs and symptoms. There may be other things that would also fall into those categories. Those are the main ones that we see most often, but there's always the opportunity to engage with BC Rest so we can share or figure out if there's more going on at that particular time.
Lynn, the Baltimore County Restoring Elder Safety Today, known as BC Rest, is a coalition working to educate and empower communities about the tragedy of elder abuse. Please share information about BC Rest.
So BC Rest, through its educational, preventional platform, wants to make sure that everybody is aware of abuse. And you can do that by looking around and taking note what might be happening in the surroundings. Seeing if the individual seems withdrawn or nervous or fretful, if they start engaging with certain people, maybe changing some of their habits, not going out as much and secluding themselves or being secluded, I should say. You also may have the opportunity to keep in contact. Encourage individuals to talk to their friends, neighbors, and relatives. Maintaining a level of communication will help decrease some of that isolation that might be happening. It also gives them a chance to talk to others about the problems that might be happening. You might be able to volunteer, become involved in programs that provide assistance and supports to older adults or individuals living in the community that may be of need. And then reporting. Report suspected mistreatment. Report your concerns to your local adult protective service agency, which would be responsible for looking at vulnerable adults, usually who are living in the community and fall between the ages of 18 to 59. Um, you would also be able to contact law enforcement, and there might be the opportunity if the individual is in a long term care setting to make contact with the Ombudsman's program in those nursing homes or assisted livings. There's a shared opportunity between APS for those that live in assisted livings, so you might call APS or you might call the Ombudsman's program, and we might tag team those together if need be. You don't have to worry about having all the facts if you are reporting. The two entities, Adult Protective Services and the Ombudsman's program, would be able to walk through any specifics of an investigation. So you don't have to worry about having all the facts. Just report the concern. It could save the person's life.
What is the role of BC Rest in the annual WEAD event, including some other events planned?
So the role of BC Rest is again through an education platform. We try to make sure that we have information in regards to elder abuse and its multiple strains, where to report, and ensuring that the community is aware of how to get connected to agencies that do investigation for a vulnerable adult or someone who's in a long term care setting. But our main role is to do education. The coalition itself doesn't do the investigation, but they would be connecting you to any entities that need to bring about the safety. Again, Adult Protective Services, Ombudsman's program, or maybe even contacting law enforcement if there are safety issues from a law standpoint being broken.
Lynn, why is it critical to acknowledge June 15th as a way to advocate and educate the general public on behalf of older adults?
So that is a national day, which marks, hopefully, people will stop, pay attention, learn, be able to take that information back to the various entities that either they work with from a professional standpoint or those old adults that live in the community. Maybe it would even trigger someone to want to volunteer with an organization that also is providing safety or opportunities to stay engaged with older adults in the community. This year, we're going to be having two events. One event would help us to educate older adults themselves, and then one event would help us to educate professionals on elder abuse. And I'm happy to say that we're going to be taking our presentations directly to seniors throughout Baltimore County. Either they're in senior centers or they're in Eating Together programs. And then we will open our professional one through a virtual opportunity where professionals all around the world can participate. And we're going to do that in conjunction with the Charles E. Smith Foundation.
In closing, do you have any final remarks regarding WEAD?
So, just want to remind people that is one very important day where the spotlight goes on elder abuse. It's a way to help keep people, older adults, hopefully to live longer, be safe, understand who the agencies are, and how to reach out for help if and when they need it, or to make contact with BC Rest if you'd like for us to come and do a free presentation. Free, free, free.
Thank you, Lynn. We're going to take a short break, but first, BCDA's Senior Solutions Virtual Conference for Professionals is May 9th and 11th. Social workers receive CEU credits. To request a registration brochure, please call 410 887 2002.